good? Welcome, man. Welcome back. Appreciate the stop. We'll touch on a couple here. Starting off, you got Tyson's Chicken, right? That's America's #1 chicken producer. Coming out basically saying that they plan on hiring over 40,000 illegal immigrants. And yes, I said illegals. We could call them illegal aliens or what have you, but they're economic immigrants for sure, but illegal nonetheless, right? Tyson Chicken, known to be, got some serious slime ball tactics. I'll get into some anecdotal aspects as far as that's concerned after the story. But, so they're announcing they're going to hire these tens of thousands of illegals while closing plants and laying off thousands of Americans, right? Obvious reasons. People willing to work for slave labor comparatively to, America, which obviously, don't get me wrong, we definitely have a labor issue as far as reliability and people that are actually willing to put in real work and not break down if they got to work more than 8 hours. I mean, you see that all over the Interzones. But usually at these plants, you don't have that issue. You got people applying for these jobs that are already well aware that they're going to have to put in some manual labor at minimum. But anyway, Tyson coming out saying that this is misinfo after releasing, this information in an interview for one of their representatives himself, saying it's misinformation, that they don't support illegal immigration. But in reality, they already employ over 42,000 out of their 120,000 strong workforce. What it is they're relying on the Biden admin's fast track to work authorizations for illegals, right? And, where there's already over 500,000 authorization applications in process, right? So, this is absolutely happening. It's pretty obvious, and I'll get into the anecdotal aspect of this. I myself actually worked for Tyson way back in the mid-90s, right? In their home state of Arkansas. I was there for a short minute. And I witnessed the fact that probably a quarter, maybe slightly more of the workforce there was non-English speaking, primarily Guatemalans, right? And, CBP would do raids periodically, but Tyson, as a corporation, would be tipped off ahead of time, and you would show up to work that day, and the plant would be, what would feel like half empty, basically. And, the CBP would show up to, a show of, look, there's no illegals in here. But, meanwhile, they were just getting, a paid day off. Real shit. Again, I witnessed it myself. Regardless of what these people tell you, you got to believe your own eyes and ears, right? And this plays right in to the next topic here, the cost of immigration across the country and, the staggering uptick in those costs. They're saying that already, across the country, illegal immigration has cost annually up to about 4.2 to 4.5 billion, depending on what statistics that you read. But they continuously want to throw more money at it. You got Biden announcing that they're throwing $1 billion into green infrastructure for ports of entry to make them more environmentally sound, because we got to cut down on emissions as we flood the country with illegals, right? Laughable shit. This going to like ports of entry in Texas, my state here in Arizona, $1 million to upgrade a bridge, millions of dollars for solar panels, to bring up, your more rural entry points to make them fully electric. Thereby putting more strain on an already strained electric grid, especially here in Arizona during the peak heat. Some of the hottest areas in the country, obviously here, and it's no joke to keep your house cool at times. And then plus, the push for the green energy with people driving electric cars, the state here being overran with Californians and whatnot that bring all their Teslas and Rivians and what have you. But, this is just an obvious waste of tax dollars and an admin unwilling to deal with an issue of its own making. You know what I'm saying? And again, these costs are just continuously skyrocketing as not only border states, but even ones as far away as New York beg off the federal teat for your tax dollars. We have the governor here in Arizona, old Scaby Hobbs, right? Basement dwelling Hobbs, apparently begging the Biden admin for $172 million and not to, deal with the issue of, border security and enforcement, but for processing, feeding, housing, medical care, so on and so on. Of course, a continuous shifting of wealth from America's middle class upwards and out. I mean, that's real shit. As Biden screams, we build from the bottom to the top. So he's actually taking everything from the middle and just dispersing it, wealth distribution like communists do, right? And of course, then you had New York just recently getting $162 million thrown at him for reimbursement for housing and feeding, all these illegals. Like I said, the funniest shit is these people that constantly tote, the world's going to end because the environment's is, and we have to cut down our carbon footprints. They push you to, again, put pressure on an already overstrained electric system that increases the carbon footprint, let unchecked millions pour through the border, which again increases the carbon footprint. And even though these people are coming through the border walking, when they get, their American dollars start flowing in their pocket, they're going to want things to drive as well. They're going to need places to live, so on and so forth. So, as usual, everything that the Democrats push, their actual policy does the opposite and causes the destruction that they claim to be against, whether that be democracy or the environments. In comedy news, a new op-ed posted in the Washington Post calls on one Campbell Toes Up Harris to resign her position for the good of the country. Good shit, right? It goes on to state that if the geriatric Biden has any hopes of getting reelected, that the American people must have reassurance that when this guy croaks out, which is pretty inevitable, right? I mean, it happens, that someone competent is ready to step into the position rather than the current fumbling, able to muster a cackle at the most inappropriate time and reason, obvious diversity hire that is Camel Toes Up Harris that has failed at every position thus far, from the border czar to an abortion advocate to the current position of marijuana reform role, right? Absolutely fucking hilarious. Where her record as DA and AG in California come under question, where she self-admittedly prosecuted over 130,000 people for marijuana charges and barred exculpatory evidence that could have freed people or kept them in longer than their sentences to be slave labor for the state of California. Right? And this writer, Kathleen Parker, saying that no bias involved here, as she said the exact same thing about Sarah Palin in 2008 when it became apparent that she was out of her element and was bringing down the old warmongering Johns McCain's, right? But, funny shit here. Good, solid advice. Probably one of the most disliked people on the planet. And while I'm obviously, voting for Trump, I gotta agree that if Biden does have a chance, it would help those chances drastically if he was to put someone competent in that second place, because it's pretty obvious that he's on a steep mental and physical decline, right? Moving on, a little more worldly topic here. It seems that the racism of lowered expectations isn't just fucking sequestered to good old Americas, right? You got London's Marxist Sadiq Khan mayor claims he could lose election under the new voter ID requisite passed late 2022 and taken effect, I guess, in last year in 2023. Of course, it's because of racisms, right? It's, making it compulsory to have an ID is a deliberate attempt to reduce turnout and is going to adversely affect the minority communities, right? As he claims 900,000 Londoners are without ID, and primarily the largest group of that are, of course, minorities, claiming that you're too stupid or incompetent to obtain an ID, that basically anywhere in the West, an ID is needed to just about complete any transaction, purchase alcohol, lottery ticket, tobacco products, to get into certain places, cash checks, so on and so on and so on and so on. They truly think that everyone besides themselves are complete fucking morons and are incapable of deciphering information or being self-accountable and responsible. You know what I mean? And especially if you have melanin in your skin, you're incapable of even, getting on the Interzones at this point, according to these racist, absolute, divisional, fucking Marxist pieces of shit. As usual, love to hear what you guys think. Truly appreciate the stop. Hit the like button if you would. Subscribe possibly as well. Smell you later.
I was going to foot him.
Idiots.